Blowback. Inside the TARDIS, the Doctor was studying the screen again. This time it showed a map of London's Docklands, Black Horse Lane. The Doctor's hand moved rapidly over the controls and pulse lights appeared on the screen. "There we are," muttered the Doctor, "the temporal reversal generator, if ever I saw one. Wonder where he'd nicked that from." Far too advanced for Challoner. He moved quickly around the TARDIS console, adjusting the controls and checking readouts. To lock onto the pulse, tricky, mind you, very tricky. The Doctor paused and grinned. "Just as well, I'm a genius." He figures flashed over the controls. In the laboratory, Challoner was too busy working on the console beside the giant crystal sphere. The sphere itself pulsed with light glowing steadily brighter. Cooled liquid in the bowl below bubbled and seethed. Close behind him, propped against the wall, Martha looked on helplessly. In an instant they'd arrived, Challoner had gripped her neck with the long bony fingers. He tightened his grip until Martha was half conscious. Then he took the roll of plastic tape from the drawer and bound her wrists and ankles. By the time she was fully conscious again, she was tied so firmly she couldn't move. She wondered why Challoner hadn't killed her. Perhaps he needed an audience, or perhaps he was afraid the Doctor might find him. "The power is building up nicely," Challoner said. "When it is at its peak, I will trigger a temporal remote console device. Paris, Berlin, Tokyo, Moscow, all major cities of the world will cease to exist. What good will that do? The Judoon have gone, and the Dock. I shall recruit other soldiers, warriors from Shangali and Oregon, perhaps. When I rule, I shall hunt down the Doctor and kill him." He paused. "No, I shall kill you in front of him," Challoner decided, "and then I shall kill him." Martha decided that the shock and defeat had turned his brain. "He needed to worry about finding the Doctor," she said bravely. "I worry about him finding you." As if proof of her words, the TARDIS materialized and the Doctor stepped out. He looked at the pulsing crystal sphere. "Spot on. Now that's a pretty impressive steering, if I do say so myself." "And I do say so." "So you say so." He looked at Martha. "Brilliant stuff. Oh, a bit tied up, are we?" He turned to Challoner. "Now I think it's time you switch off the piece of junk off before it goes horribly wrong." "Do you really think so, Doctor?" "I know so." "You're wrong," said Challoner. "The power has almost built up, and in a few moments I shall trigger the remote controls." "Not if it overloads." "What's going to make it overload, Doctor?" asked Challoner. He picked up an alien blaster gun and waved it at the Doctor. "I am," said the Doctor. Martha realized that the Doctor had his sonic screwdriver in his hand. He pointed at the console and the tip glowed a blue light. The console burst into smoke and flame and the giant crystal sphere began to pulse violently. With a screaming of rage, Challoner aimed his blaster at the Doctor. Although her wrists and ankles were tied, Martha was only a few feet from Challoner. She braced herself against the wall and then launched herself at him, hitting Challoner with her whole body. Challoner sagged back at the edge of the bowl under an enormous sphere and caught him behind the knees. He tumbled over, falling into a bubbling liquid. The Doctor peered into the bowl. He caught a glimpse of the wiggling lizard-like shape. Then it faded away. "Look out," screamed Martha, gazing upward. The crystal sphere glowed fiercely. Then it exploded, showering fragments of crystal down into the laboratory. The Doctor grabbed Martha and dragged her clear. He finished his ancient penknife from his pocket and cut her bonds and helped her up. "I said it would all go wrong," he told her. Martha peeled the rest of the tape from her wrists and ankles and looked at the wreck machinery. "Is this stuff safe now?" Before the Doctor could answer, the console glowed briefly, and then the console and pool and the crystal fragments simply disappeared. "What happened?" "Temporal blowback," said the Doctor. "It abolished itself. Not only doesn't it exist now, it never did. And Challoner, him too. Now come on, Martha. Looks like we've got a very busy schedule ahead of us." Martha was outraged. "What? I thought it was all over. I was looking forward to a bit of that gracious living you promised me." "You can have it," said the Doctor, "just not in London." "Where else?" "Everywhere." "Then what are you on about?" The Doctor waved his arm around the wrecked laboratory. "This may be harmless now, but what about all the temporal reservation devices it is meant to trigger? We don't want humans getting crude time engineering too early. Suppose they start going off on their own. No, we need to track them all down." "I see. Fancy a lightning tour of the world's capitals?" Martha, Paris, Rome, Berlin, Tokyo, Moscow, Beijing. He opened the TARDIS door. Now, let's get this clear, Doctor. You're offering me a top speed. If it's Wednesday, it must be China tour of the world. With it as an added attraction, an unstable alien device that could be discovered and diffused in each city. Well, you could put it like that. But 5-star, definitely 5-star. The sort of bomb disposal team's working holiday. In a way. Martha didn't answer. She turned away so the doctor couldn't see her smile. And then strode to the TARDIS. Following her, come on, Martha. You'll love Beijing. And as for Moscow... The doctor closed the door behind them. The TARDIS wheezed and groaned and went on its way.